The 1990s were a faith-building decade for Maranatha. God led the organization through a large-scale project in the Dominican Republic and miraculous construction on the island of Cuba. But when God leads, there are always new challenges, this time on the subcontinent of India.
Maranatha started in India actually in the early middle 80s at a campus north of Delhi called Roorkee. But it was a come and go, do a project, leave. It wasn't the long, continued involvement that started probably a little more than 20 years ago now.
At the time, the Adventist Church was struggling. Adventists represented a small percentage of the general population, and the places they had to worship didn't inspire others to join them. Ron Watts, president of the Adventist Church in India at the time, reached out to Maranatha for help in growing their fledgling group.
I asked Ron at that time, I said, Ron, how many members do you have? He says, well, in the books we have about 200,000. He says, really, he says, I have to tell you, it's not more than 100,000. And we really need a new church here. He said, this is a huge, huge area of primarily Hindus that don't even know who Jesus is, never heard of him, don't know anything about the Creator God, they don't know anything about salvation. He says, this is what we're here for. That's what we should be doing.
Although Maranatha had previously done a handful of projects in India, the decision was made to establish a permanent presence in the country to facilitate evangelism meetings and build churches.
And then we started talking, and we moved our leadership from Cuba over to India to start overseeing those campaigns and to start some construction. And we didn't know where it was going, but it went.
Garwin McNeilis, a businessman from Minnesota, was asked to get involved.
Ron Watts said, why don't you come and do an effort? And I said, sure, we'll go. Now, I'd never done an effort. And so I contacted my friend Bob Paulson, who I knew could do the preaching, and Maranatha helped us, and we set up Tonelli. We had over 3,000 people in Tonelli. It was just overwhelming. And what took me back, when we closed up, all 3,000 wanted special prayer. And they just crowded around you, and the hunger and the willingness.
The success there led to the organization of larger meetings in the town of Ongole.
I remember the big Ongole project, over 50,000 people there listening to Bob Paulson stand up and say, I want to introduce you to not just any old God, not just another God, but the Creator God. And they're all listening to this, and it was powerful.
It was just overwhelming. And Maranatha was just deeply involved in organizing and coordinating the effort of all the churches. But I just can't help but think in heaven what it'll be like when we have an India homecoming. There'll be thousands and thousands of people there as a result of it.
The 50,000 people in the crowd weren't the only ones listening. Halfway across the world, this meeting would have an impact on a family living in Medford, Oregon.
I had no idea about going to India or any place else. I was happy to stay on the United States side of everything. Didn't look forward to traveling at all. Merlin found he was watching television, and he's watching Garwin McNeilis, and they'd been doing evangelistic meetings over in Ongole. And he's intently watching that. When it was over, he said, I think we could do that. And I was shocked. We could do that? Well, yeah, I think we could.
The television program they watched was a report put together by 3ABN highlighting the recent meetings. What Joanne and her husband Merlin didn't know was their son Bruce was also watching and felt impressed to get involved.
I was committed to call Don on Monday and tell him that I'd like to go over there to India sometime and help if they had a need or an opening. And just few minutes, my dad called. And he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about going to India?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I have, and I will go."
6 months later, Bruce was on an airplane headed to India. Merlin joined him on the next trip, but Joanne, in her 70s, wasn't sure about making the long journey. She wondered if there was anything she could contribute to the effort.
Bruce said to me, "You can go, and even if you just hug the ladies and smile at them, if you can't understand them, they're going to understand you." So that's what I did. I went to India and I gave them hugs. I was 72 the first time I went to India. And the culture shock was so severe. It was like, I need to fix these things. These poor people, they don't have anything. And yet they're happy. And I kept talking to Merlin about it. And he said, "I want to tell you something. By coming here and helping them to know that there is a creator God, that we're helping them with the greatest thing that they can have."
The Farley family was hooked on India. Not only did they continue to conduct evangelism campaigns, they also helped to fund hundreds of churches and several large school campuses.
The Farley family really got involved in India in a major way, and I don't have any question that God used them. Merlin Farley I've known since the 60s. The tough guy, the committed guy, the generous, man of few words. He said, "I want the best bang for the buck." That was his line. "I want the best bang for the buck." And he felt that in a society like India where there's so many people, he could get the best bang for the buck.
You leave India, but it never leaves you. And to think about going back, I had to go back. It was such a blessing to see that I could put smiles on the little kids' faces, and I just had to go back. I think the Lord put it in my heart to treasure the times in India.
Maranatha has worked in India for more than 20 years. Today, more than 2,000 structures stand as influential anchors in their communities, monuments to a living God.
You build a building, and those same ones that were built in the 90s are producing souls today. And they've spawned, and next one has spawned. And the church family, as a result, there will be thousands in eternity as a result of that one project.
But the impact goes beyond the people of India.
You think you're going to go there to change people and let them know that there is a real God that knows them. And it changed us, and it changed my husband more than I could ever have dreamed that it would.
Merlin passed away in 2014, but his sons Bruce and Clint have continued the family's legacy of service.
I think Dad was really blessed by going to India and raising the money to invest in India. He had fun doing that. He was blessed by doing that. It softened him. It exposed a soft side of his heart that most people never saw.
Well, it's just amazing. As far as from my perspective, I think it's just a miracle, and our family's just been part of it, which is quite a blessing. But you know, once God's work gets rolling, it's pretty hard to stop Him with a little bit of help, and we've been very blessed to be able to help.
Maranatha's commitment to India is unwavering, as more and more people are longing to hear the gospel. There continues to be requests for more churches and schools in India, and in 2018, Maranatha started drilling water wells in areas of great need.
I think heaven's going to be a wonderful reunion with a lot of people that gave their heart to Jesus. It's an awesome thing to do. I would do it again. Except I would have started 30 years sooner.